I've been deep diving into African music for years, and let me tell you, Amapiano is a vibe. So much so that I did a video on Amapiano a year ago titled "Are Nigerians and Other Africans Making Fake Amapiano?" And I did this because we started hearing things we shouldn't be hearing on Twitter, YouTube comments, and more. Since then, that video has become more interesting to the people out there, and I'm here to double down. It's not just a genre, it's a whole mood, a lifestyle. Born and bred in South Africa, many agree that it was born in Pretoria. Amapiano is a rich coming together of kwaito, deep house, jazz. There's a whole lot to it, and it's cultural. It's very personal to South Africans. But here's the tea. Just because Nigerian artists are vibing with Amapiano elements and fusing them in the music doesn't mean we should slap the Amapiano label on their tracks. I broke this down in the last video, so I won't go over the same points, but fam, we need to talk. Again, let's be real, the Nigerian music industry has a massive reach. Interestingly, according to the latest IFPI Global Music Report, South Africa is the biggest music market in sub-Saharan Africa, despite Nigeria's global reach. And in the last year, South Africa drove music revenues a whopping 31.4%, which is huge. And I think Amapiano had something to do with that. Back to Nigeria. Once the Amapiano fusion tracks started dominating the scene, it started to sideline the South African originals, especially in the global markets that don't know the backstory. This is why we saw the massive backlash against Sway Lee a couple of months back when he kind of bigged up Amapiano with the Nigerian flag in a tweet, and my South African brothers and sisters lost it. Justifiably. This is what they could foresee last year and before, and in part what they wanted to avoid. Let's get into the nuances of how Nigerian fusion tracks are dominating the Amapiano scene and why this is problematic for the South African originators. Nigeria has a massive diaspora and global influence that extends to the UK, the US, and beyond. When a Nigerian artist releases a track, it's not just hitting Lagos or Abuja, it's hitting London, New York, Toronto, places like that. This global reach can quickly amplify a trend, making it seem like it originated from Nigeria even when it didn't. And I think this is what Sway Lee fell victim to. This kind of international exposure can easily eclipse the efforts of South African artists who may not have the same global platform. The Nigerian music industry is flush with investment and has a well-oiled PR machine and connections between Nigeria and these overseas markets like the UK and the US. Record labels in Nigeria have the resources to invest in high-quality music videos, international collaborations, and those global PR campaigns actually work. How many Nigerian artists right now are signed to international labels compared to, say, South African artists? And I mean not just the divisions of these labels that exist in Africa, but the actual labels in the UK or the US. These powerful diaspora connections, especially right now, come with a level of investment that can make Nigerian tracks way more visible and accessible, pushing South African Amapiano tracks to the sidelines. That's a problem. And no, you cannot say South African Amapiano artists just need to work harder. The dynamics are completely different. When the narrative shifts to give credit to Nigerian artists for Amapiano's popularity, it's a form of cultural erasure. The South African townships and Pretoria and places like that where Amapiano was born have a rich history and a unique social fabric that contributed to the genre's formation. Ignoring this context is like telling half of the story, and it's unfair to the communities that gave life to Amapiano. A key reason there is that music is a form of cultural expression. When elements of a genre deeply rooted in one culture, like Amapiano is, are lifted and repackaged without proper attribution, it's a form of appropriation. This is especially problematic when the appropriating culture has more social or economic power, as it can lead to the commodification of the appropriated culture. In this case, the international reach that Nigerian artists have is also the access to the life-changing money that Amapiano artists wish they had, if we're being honest. I guess we might as well talk about the money. Streaming revenue, royalties, and live performances are really how many artists make a living. If Nigerian artists dominate the Amapiano scene, they're the ones who get the big festival slots, the brand endorsements, and the lucrative streaming deals, leaving many South African Amapiano artists in the dust. DJ Maphorisa kind of touched on this from an interesting angle when he said, look, I love to see people growing. Amapiano artists, DJs are doing more international gigs now, which means we represent South African arts and culture, and we should be doing something about this. We need your support, not just money. We are struggling to get visas because we spend too much money to get them. If you can create a system where we can get visas easily because some artists and DJs are getting declined, that would be better for everybody. Just speaking my mind. So arts and culture, I think that's a ministry. Please take care of Amapiano. These are the nuances we'll never know, but even for the festivals where the OG Amapiano acts are invited, if visas are a constant issue, those gigs will most likely end up going to the Nigerian acts who can obtain visas easily, or they're dual citizens somewhere or something. There could even be a blanket understanding amongst the promoters where they say, don't bother inviting the South African acts because the admin is, well, too much. Either way, the loser is South African Amapiano acts. I must admit, I'd be pissed if somebody came and took a sound from me and is making a killing from it and I cannot put food on my table. And this is really what South Africans were feeling and wanted to protect the sound against. They didn't want somebody else coming and taking the sound, turning it into something else, and then making money from it without as much as acknowledgement of where it came from. And in many ways, we've already seen the impacts of that. Now, if we look at the other side, algorithms are designed to give people more of what they're already listening to. If Nigerian Amapiano tracks are getting more initial clicks, thanks to better marketing and visibility, and notwithstanding Nigeria's 220 million population versus South Africa's 60, then there's a good chance that those tracks that the algorithm will favor, creating a feedback loop, are going to be the Nigerian Amapiano ones, and it makes it difficult for South African tracks to break through. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, but Mniga is such a big track, what. But if all fairness was on the table, then we probably should have at least 10 or 20 Mnigas coming out of South Africa. Essentially, the same algorithmic imbalance on streaming platforms also happens if the biggest Amapiano playlists, for example, end up being dominated by Nigerian fusion songs or are entirely Nigerian fusion songs because of the numbers game. And for anybody who doesn't know the backstory, when they hear an Amapiano song and they're like, you know what, I want to find out more about this, they go to Spotify and then they look for an Amapiano playlist. If the first one that comes up only has Nigerian Amapiano songs, well, there you have it. Lastly, if we look at awards, they aren't just shiny trophies. They are a form of industry recognition that can lead to more opportunities and higher earning potential. They're very important to artists. If Nigerian artists start snagging awards for Best Amapiano Song, it not only misrepresents the genre's origins, but also deprives South African artists of opportunities they rightfully deserve. Genres evolve, and that's a good thing. Same for Amapiano. But let's be accurate in how we label the evolution. If Nigerian artists are adding their own flavors to Amapiano, then we should acknowledge that it's a fusion. Call it something else. This allows listeners to appreciate the artistry involved in blending the genres while giving credit to Amapiano's roots. For example, Nigeria has given us one of the biggest acts, Nigerian Amapiano fusion acts in the world, Ashake. Yo, fire. And that's all good, but call it what it is. This is about education and awareness, so give credit where it's due. DJs, journalists, and award show organizers, podcasters, YouTubers should be well informed about Amapiano's origins or at least they should find out so that they can accurately represent the genre. This could be through interviews, social media shoutouts that acknowledge the South African pioneers of Amapiano, blogs written about it. Hell, do videos about it, but give props to the originators, the rightful people. The bottom line is this. While it's super exciting, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, it's super exciting to see Amapiano gain international traction, particularly in the last year or two. It's crucial to remember and respect where it came from. The genre's South African roots should be celebrated and acknowledged at every turn possible, even as it evolves and spreads across the African continent and beyond. Right now, we're seeing, the US falling in love with it big time, but you got to give the props and respect to the people that not only call it music, but a culture, and that is South Africans. What do you think about how Amapiano has evolved in Africa and Nigeria in particular, en route to the rest of the world, and are South Africans being adequately given their props for this genre or not? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that's it for me. My name is MJ Wemoto, son of Zimbabwe, signing out.